Well, hi there, welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time visiting, just welcome. Thanks for joining. Today I am at Winding Stairs Trails and Nature Park. This is a brand new park just outside of Lafayette, Tennessee. Now that's, if you're familiar with the area, that's just inside the Tennessee line if you're heading south from Kentucky, or just before you get to Kentucky if you're heading north. Looks like some pretty neat trails around here. The longest I see is about 1.7 miles. That's okay. I'm not looking for anything huge right now. I'm actually traveling for work. I've been on the road most of the day, stopping with emails and handling phone calls and other things. And I just needed a leg stretch. So I think this little place is gonna have just the right thing for me right now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. Join me. Well, I just learned the fastest way down that is on your butt. All right, well, now that I am away from the noise of the Cascades and I've made my way across the 2 water crossings that you will have to do, nearest I can tell, having looked all the way around here, there's no way that you can make it to those southern Cascades without at least 2 water crossings. Anyway, let me give you a quick update. Before I do that though, if you haven't yet subscribed, you're still with me, please do so. This channel's still really new, starting up, and I could use your support. If you are subscribed, thank you very much. Oh man, sorry, that was probably loud. Thank you very much, I greatly appreciate it. On that, whether you're a new subscriber or existing, just a reminder, Alana and I plan to rebrand this channel now that we've settled into the type of content that we want to provide and what we want to do with the channel. So look forward to a name change soon. I'm planning on doing that over the holidays. Enough on all that. So let me tell you, I've struggled a little bit here with the trails. Beyond me scooting my rear end down Jacob's ladder, it was very steep, but it's properly signed and warned. I just have really poor boots on today. They're really good for the water crossings, but the traction's really not very good for steep, kind of muddy, leaf-covered hills. All my fault, especially with trying to run the camera and stuff. But that being said, I'm trying to follow a loop that's in All Trails. That's the hiking app we use a lot, and there's no trail here that has the same name as the All Trails loop. And because you're in such a steep gorge, my phone keeps losing GPS. It's hard for me to tell whether I'm on trail, off trail. There also weren't any maps up there when I went to get one here, so I'm kind of winging it, and I keep walking down paths and then coming back and realizing, oops, wrong way. So I've now turned around and I have a little over 1 mile on me. So remember, the longest hike I found was about 1.7, at least on the maps, and here I am about halfway out with a little over 1. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going to end up, but it's really been lovely. Please don't take any of this as a complaint. This has been an awesome little break. It's been a little more than I anticipated just to stretch the legs in the car, but really well worth it. I didn't plan on even taking photos. I've taken 2, one of which I really like. Here it comes now. All right, well, let's wrap this baby up with some final thoughts. I found this little park to be an amazing little stop. Now, I'm a little confused on exactly what to do with it. So my initial reason for stopping here, if you remember, is I'm actually traveling semi through the area for business, and I'd been on the road for some time and wanted to stretch my legs. What I found was the mileage and time really to sort of work the loops out and enjoy the area is more than I would typically use for that type of stop. That being said, if you were doing the same thing and you were going to just plan on staying maybe for lunch or maybe even spend close to a half a day, I think this is a really nice place to stop. So if you're heading north on 65 or south on 65 and really looking for something to do around the Bowling Green, head a little bit east over here to Lafayette, and I think you find a nice little park. When it comes to the park, the sign says that it's all brand new, and when I did some scouting via the old googly there, it looked like it was new, but in truth, just the park is new. So the parking lot's all brand new paved, the restrooms are very nice, brand new, the pavilion's all brand new. But when you get out on the trails, they've, at least parts of it, have been there for quite some time, and some of it needs some maintenance. Now, I ended up coming across a local young lady, said she was about 20 years. She'd been coming here since she was a teenager. And a lot of those trails she has witnessed be updated with some fencing and some new steps and even some new trails, which might add to the fact that I got a little confused and didn't know where to go based on some of that old dated information. So what I would encourage you to do if you visited is do exactly what the sign at the trailhead says to do that I didn't. Take a picture, because they actually signed it all pretty well. I just sort of arrogantly went at it with my All Trails app and thought that I'd be fine, and wasn't. I got a little confused and ended up putting some extra miles. Extra miles ended up being 2.2 miles. Now, again, that's a little bit of out and back for B-roll and for me messing around with doing some photography and such. On my way back on the Red Oak Trail, back to the car here, I did stop at the last water crossing to take another photo, one I think I'm going to like a lot on the back of the camera, and I'll show you that here as soon as I shut up. But before I wrap everything up, let me go ahead and hit those questions that Alana and I are going to try to do at all of our hikes. I don't remember the exact order, but one of them is absolutely how would I rate the trail in difficulty? Well, some of them, at least one, it's pretty short, is paved and it's handicapper wheelchair accessible so that you could get out to one of the overlooks. So that one is obviously very easy. A good bit of the trails are pretty easy, but it does go to moderate plus pretty quickly. And I would say really difficult. It's a very tricky scramble at the best of times on the area that they call Jacob's Ladder. It is signed that way, that it's very steep and everything. And as I mentioned, my boots really were, I think, the primary culprit to me slipping, but at the best of it, it was some tricky footing there. So keep that in mind. Even out on the other parts of the trail, there was a lot of water and slop, and there was also some places where it was a little off camber and you were kind of on a ridge as you went around, and that can be tricky for some people with balance. So I would put it overall as a moderate. Okay, as far as friendliness, meeting kids and dogs. Well, dogs are allowed here. You're supposed to keep them leashed. I think that could be tricky in some of those same spots I've seen on a lot of trails where I think to keep your dog leashed, they would want to do things a little faster in a different way that might make that tricky, but it is allowed. Same for the kids. If kids are good on their feet, fine, but there's a lot of places where it gets really tight and very scrambly. So if hiking is something new to them, might want to pass on this one. If you've been outside in the woods and your kids are very used to it, I'm sure they'd be just fine. As far as special accommodations in gear or anything that I would recommend to hike and enjoy the area, you're going to have water crossings, and it did look like it stayed muddy, at least in some areas, all the time. Now again, that young lady that I talked to that's local said that during the summer months a lot of it will run dry, so maybe you could get across it in sneakers. But here, this area had rain last night, and it actually stopped just as I made my way in here now. A lot was wet. In fact, in one area, which you saw, my feet were just slopping as I walked up the trail. And with those water crossings, you're going to want to keep your feet dry, especially in the winter months. But beyond that, something with good traction and have some fun. For photography, I was pleasantly surprised. We had really pretty horrible light today, and I was here. I came in really towards the tail end of the afternoon with quite a bit of light still in the valley, but I had fun. The first shot that I took, there was still a lot of light, and I'm probably going to have to work in post to do something about that, but as the sun has set, it's gotten nice. Whether it be fall, summer, or anything, I think as long as the water was flowing, you could actually have a lot of fun with a camera here. So if you're into photography like me, this is definitely a place for you. All right, well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. We are going to take a little bit of a break. Alana and I are going to be heading for the holidays down towards Savannah. We're going to be exploring the Savannah, Georgia area, and we actually have a hotel out on Jackal Island. We're wanting to check out the beach there with some of the driftwood, so we're really looking forward to exploring that. And that's also when I'm planning on putting in to force the name change on the channel. So if you've enjoyed everything, please be sure to go ahead and subscribe now, because it's not always going to be this name. Other than that, I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.